Aloha, everybody. This is Mind of Marlin, Sweet Spot Edition. Today is a subject that's near and dear to all of us, and that's garbage. And now that you're actually locked up at home, there's a sense of maybe the garbage piling up in a way that you weren't aware of it before. But this is a piece that I wrote back in 2007, and it's all about keeping garbage to yourself. Americans have a love-hate affair with their garbage. Clearly, they hate it because they don't want it around and can't wait to get rid of it. However, clearly they love it because they just keep making more of it. Garbage, trash, refuge, disposable junk, waste, debris, crap by any other name would still smell as sour. There's so much garbage in the Fishkill landfill outside of New York City. It is the only other man-made object visible from space after the Great Wall of China. Except the Great Wall of China was built out of stone blocks, not Diet Coke bottles and Pampers. In Europe, recycling is free. However, they charge you by the pound when your trash is hauled away. But that's silly European garbage and doesn't contain American culture. Yes, our culture is one of consumption. And with everything you consume, unless it's a buffalo and you're a Native American Indian, there's garbage left over. That is our culture. Earn, buy, consume, dispose, repeat. According to the Clean Air Council, Americans in 2005 generated 4.5 pounds of waste per day, or 1,642 pounds per year, or 16,420 pounds per decade. That's more than 8 tons of garbage per person per 10 years. That's the weight of 4 full-size cars. Each year, Americans trash enough office paper to build a 12-foot wall from Los Angeles to New York City. Americans toss out enough plastic and paper fork, cups, and spoons every year to circle the equator 300 times. Of course, what's the point of laying out cups, forks, and spoons across the equator, as many of those countries have little or no food to begin with? Almost a third of the waste generated in the United States in the U.S. is packaging. Every year, Americans make enough plastic film to shrink wrap Texas. And as wasteful as that is, I think we can all agree that it would be fun to shrink wrap Texas. The amount of glass bottles thrown out by Americans every 2 weeks would have filled both World Trade Centers. And they may have actually stopped them from collapsing back in 2001. 3,000 tons of food is thrown out in the United States each day. In 1 year, that amounts to 15,695 billion tons of food. How long has it been since you've heard, "Finish your dinner, there's starving children in Africa"? It used to be China, but not anymore. America is home to 5% of the world's population, yet it consumes a third of the Earth's timber and paper, making paper the largest part of the waste stream at 37.5%. And America's only 300 million people. If China's per capita resource consumption was the same as the United States today, its projected 1.5 billion people would consume the equivalent of 2/3 of the world's grain harvest. China's paper consumption would be double the world's current production. There goes the world's forests. The Chinese are going to be so rich that giant pencils, like the ones that we make here, will be needed to write larger checks for bigger purchases. If China had 3 cars for every 4 people, U.S. style, it would have 1.1 billion cars. The whole world today has only 800 million cars. It would need 99 million barrels of oil a day. And yet, the world currently produces only about 84 million barrels per day and may never produce much more than that. Well, it's a good thing that America, which represents 5% of the world's population, has been able to consume 25% of the world's resources. Otherwise, that huge military buildup would have been a waste of our money. As it is, we are ready to fight to the death. We'll at least send our young people to fight to the death for us, to protect our right to consume as much as we want, as quickly as we can. We are discouraged to think. We are encouraged to consume. If the opposite was true, we would see more educational programming than commercials, right? There needs to be a plan put into place as we are greening the planet, which involves people no longer being able to send out their trash, but they have to live with it as long as it remains solid waste. Once it has dissolved, you can simply flush it down the toilet and nobody will know. But as long as it's solid, it needs to stay with you. At home, in the car, at the office, on vacation, the trash stays with you. Soon people will be looking for ways to compost those old items that you can't give away. No more putting it on the curb. It stays with you. Since you've already got that burial plot picked out, why not do the planet a favor and bury your garbage in that hole while you get cremated and fed to the goldfish? That second home may soon be a primary dump as people will be looking for creative ways to do something with their trash. Storage units are big business these days, as people have more stuff than will fit in their homes. Storage units will need to increase by a factor of 25 because we throw away more than we keep. But since we'll no longer be able to throw anything away, it will change the way we live. It will be considered gracious and a loving act to steal from people, and they will thank you for making more rooms in their lives that they're now longing for. The rich will be able to hire poor people to keep their trash for them, thereby increasing gainful employment for those who have lived without but are now going to have no choice. Since there are more poor people than rich people, the poor will be competing with each other to get the business of keeping the trash of the rich. They will impress upon their prospective clients that they are poorer and therefore have fewer things to buy and less trash of their own. These people will have lots of empty space that can be filled with the garbage of the wealthy. The upper crust can now use their dough to go out and buy more things to enjoy and consume before they let it trickle down. Since the poor are most likely the ones making the stuff the rich are buying, doesn't it make sense that it goes back to them in the end? Now that's what I call recycling. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of days. Be kind to each other. Aloha.